Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to Absolute Sim Racing and welcome to another race meeting here in the Race Anywhere World Series of the United States. My name is Chaz Draycott and I'm going to be guiding you through all of tonight's action where we take some amazingly wonderful GT3 cars around the amazingly wonderful Watkins Glen. What a fantastic place to be. We're here using the full GP circuit. We have the bus stop chicane. We have the boot section as well. It's going to be a really, really good night of racing. We had a fantastic time last week at Silverstone as well, where my good friend Ed May joined me in the commentary box. We had a very, very dramatic race where Dave Moneno led most of it in his number 5 Lamborghini, but unfortunately right near the end had a disconnect, and it was a very, very heartbreaking place to be. Here is Dave though, out on track at the moment, currently third in class by 43 thousandths of a second from Jonathan Ouellette, who is currently the fastest. Harry Wills in second place at the moment. This is just a practice session that these guys are making it round in at the moment. And of course the grid positions determined by championship standings. Here's Jeff Carollo, one of the privateers in the series, in this very, very pretty looking Porsche. He needs to sort his numbers out though, he's still got the white numbers stamped on the car. Here's one of the Team Prem at BMWs, one of the other ones actually just behind. This is Drew Neubauer. Two very, very good looking cars indeed, I must admit. I know last week I was taking the mick out of the BMW, saying that the front end of it really doesn't look good, and still, I can't say it looks good. However, I think that livery on that car really suits it. Black and red looking very good on the BMW. Obviously this weekend the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours will take place, but when the real Daytona 24 Hour takes place, you will see some BMW M4s there, and the RLL cars have actually just been released as well. They're in a wonderful black and red livery too. This is Jay Steffi in the Q3 Sim Sport car. He's just going around turn 1. He's just jumped up the order in the Pro-Am category to 10th place, but it's so, so close. I mean, look at it. From the top of the Pro-Ams where we've got Wilson Brewer, Logan Vida is 11 thousandths behind him. Littleton then is 52 thousandths behind him. Rivera is 67 thousandths off the top spot. The top 4 covered by less than a tenth of a second. In that class as well, we have two good friends of mine racing tonight. Taylor Lane is one of them in the fiercely forward BMW. No livery on his car as of yet though, so hopefully Trading Paints will bring that in. And my friend Jack Werrell is out there in this Porsche for Zealous Sim Sports. Very, very pretty looking Porsche indeed. Jack trying his hand at this series. Only half a second off the fastest man in class at the moment. Incredibly close here around the newly sort of rebuilt scan of Watkins Glen. Here's Stephen Martinez in the 53 Ferrari, currently top of the AM class by 0.2 of a second. He's got his teammate, I believe, just behind him there. That's Michael Kulaga. It is. He's in the Pro-Am class in car 83. But we've got a wonderful, very mixed field here. Here's Ryan Koprowski in what have been described as the Ukrainian Air Force Lamborghini Hurricanes. Riddle Rocket Racing, fantastic team name, fantastic looking cars as well. Here's the GHJC Aerosports entry of Jeremy Littleton, the Canadian, with the Martini branding all over the car. Tyler Campbell back with us once again as well for FTR Esports. Very, very wide out of the second to last. We've also got another new addition tonight, James Hebb in the Rhino Motorsports machine. Very interesting looking livery on this Lamborghini. I quite like the look of that. It's a very, very striking look, isn't it? With the big Rhino logo down the side. You do see a lot of teams going for this sort of look where they have some sort of animal on the rear quarter. But still, that's a very, very interesting front end. I really like the look of that. That looks very, very angry, doesn't it? Matthew Plaisance is currently bottom of those that have put times in, I'm afraid, in the Eclipse Racing Esports machine. But he's still pushing on. Although actually he hasn't put a time on the board yet, so I apologise to Matthew. He's done a couple of laps, but I think he's had incident points on each one. Here's Travis Kepler of Team Pramac Red in one of their BMWs. Just making his way around the final couple of corners of the lap now. Who else have we got out there then? We've got Brent Bravata for Twisted Racing, flying down the back straight. Of course, one of the main things up here at Watkins Glen are those S's. Very, very scary piece of road, as Brent has absolutely clobbered the inside wall and broken that Ferrari a lot. That's not going to go down very well at all. Here's one of his teammates, Dean Timms, in the number 46 car. Currently 9th in class, 0.4 of a second off the fastest man, Logan Vida, who, by the way, is 4th overall. Plenty of smoke as one of the cars disappears from where it is. But hello everybody in the chat, hope you are well, hope you're all having a wonderful day, or have had a wonderful day. It's currently 1 in the morning here in the UK, but I know that wherever you are in the UK, or in the US, apologies, it will be evening. You'll be a good few hours behind us yet. It's not quite time for bed, is it? Here's Louis Rivera in the Sim 3D Sport car. Sim 3D, of course, one of the brands that supports this championship, run by the wonderful Calvin Dent. And they're very, very striking livery on their car. Wonderful gradient, similar to what some of their logos have on them. Louis Rivera just pushing the limits of that Porsche at the moment. 4th fastest in his class at the minute. Trying to get everything out of the car, as you see. Here's Donald Malcolm in the BRM Racing Red Porsche. Not much about the front end of it is red, but it's a fantastic gradient. Lovely looking car, lovely pop and bang as well on the overrun there, down into the chute. And yes, Matthew, it is very late indeed. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Love watching these Porsches though. It's always a car that looks so stable, surprisingly stable as well, for a car that's got the engine right at the back over the rear wheels. It does surprise me how such a thing can be so stable. But of course, it's got a very, very wide backside, a humongous rear wing on it, and big, big diffuser as well on the back of the car, which a number of GT3 cars don't have in great exaggeration, it must be said. The Porsche really does show the fact that it's a very rear-heavy car. The Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, a car that was recently added to the iRacing service. It's being very widely used in this championship. We saw at Silverstone that it was mainly Ferraris on the podium of every class. This is Justin Delano in the Eclipse Racing eSports machine. One of many red, white and black teams in the field. But it's my job to try and decipher who is who. Who else haven't we looked at yet that we've got out on track? Whoa! Bit of a spin there for James Hebb. This is Daniel Davis in the Forge Racing car. Number 33 Ferrari, another black and red Ferrari. We've also got Jay Steffi in the Q3 Sim Sport Ferrari, another black and red Ferrari. Seems black, red and white is a very, very popular livery colour combination amongst the American iRacing community. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So, let's get ourselves a grid, shall we? We need to just get rid of that one because that is clearly not correct. Apparently, we have Pro-Am Tyler Campbell starting at the very top of the order. But that is clearly not the case, is it? Dave Moneno will start on pole position with Ryan Koprowski alongside him. But I'm trying to get the specific class here for you. Just bear with me. There you go, that's how the grid is showing. However, because Tyler Campbell is at the top of the list, it's showing the Pro-Ams first. But it's Koprowski, Tenorio, Wills and Ouellette, and then John Cooper in the Pros. Then we'll go to the Pro-Ams, which is Tyler Campbell, Joseph Smith, Andrew Rasmussen, Michael Kulaga and Gary Brown. Logan Vida is 6th ahead of Wilson Brewer in 7th. Then it's Eric Kulaga, Jeremy Littleton and Jay Steffi. Casey Metzger will line up alongside Brent Bravata on row 6 of their class. Then we have Dean Timms and Jeff Carollo with Louis Rivera and Taylor Lane. Jack Werrell is 17th. Now, I must admit, I think Tyler's actually in the Pro class. It's just for some reason he's been put on here as Pro-Am. Not quite sure why. John Cooper, like we say there, in 6th at the bottom of the Pros. Then it's Drew Neubauer, Tom Cornett on the front row of the AMs, ahead of Donald Malcolm and Jason Bridges. Travis Kepler and Matthew Plaisance next up, with Justin Delano and Stephen Martinez in 7th and 8th. Then we have Michael Fowler and Daniel Davis, with James Hebb and John Casey at the back of the field. So as you'll see on the left-hand side there, Tyler Campbell is apparently top of the pile in the Pro-Ams, but I will very quickly change that for you now, everybody, if you just bear with me 1 second. I will fix that instantly for you. Ready? Boom. There you go. Tyler Campbell now in the Pro class. Wonderfully distorted sound there from the curb as those V10s at very low revs in the back of the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo and the Audi R8 make their way past. Here's Andrew Rasmussen at the sharp end of the Pro-Am battles. He's got Joseph Smith alongside him in the Premac BMW. Number 49 car just behind is Gary Brown. Jack Werrell and Taylor Lane start at the back of this field as they are newbies to the championship. Look at that fiercely forward BMW. Oh, thank you, iRacing cameras. There you go, look at that thing. Very, very angry looking car. Any fiercely forward car, to be fair. Then we've got the 2 Team Premac BMWs at the front of the AM class. That is Drew Neubauer and Tom Cornett. Very, very slow pace like this, to be honest. Very, very slow indeed. Certainly taking their time. Obviously, it is a full pace lap. And if you listen to the Porsche, it's not doing it anymore. Now, a while ago on iRacing, if you looked at that Porsche while it was circulating and listened in, it was smashing it off the red line, screaming at 9,000 RPM in first gear all the way around the circuit. As, oh, Taylor Lane has had some sort of issue here. Taylor Lane has pulled over to one side. Now, what on earth has caused that? Let's have a look here, because does he just go straight? He does. Now, is that a wheel disconnecting? Is that some sort of issue with his wheel? Because I suppose he still did turn a little bit at the end. And still, Taylor having problems. And it seems like I'm having problems with replays again, which is a real pain in the backside, so apologies for that. Taylor did get going again. Sorry about this, everybody. We've had this problem before with replays. Taylor making his way through the pack. Trying to get back to live pictures here. But this has happened before, hasn't it? We've all seen this before. This is a real shame. Typical. We aren't 100% sure what causes these problems, everyone. I hate to say it. I'm trying to just flick through some of the cameras now to get us back to live pictures, because we're just about to get going. It's not too far behind. We'll have to do the horrendous thing and fast forward this. Now, I hate doing this, but I apologise. This is the only way we're going to be able to get this to fix. We just have to wait until these things creep, but the race is getting underway now. The guys are just coming to the line, so hopefully we'll catch up before too long, but I really, really do apologise for this, everybody. It's an issue with the timing software here, where it's not liking going back to replays. It should catch up any second now, really, but as you see, Tyler Campbell's had a wonderful, wonderful start ahead of Koprowski and Dave Moneno. And then we get our Pro-Ams coming around the corner. They're on their way around just now. Apologies for any sounds, because I will have to just quickly get out of the software and get back in, just to see if it's something at my end that isn't quite right, so bear with me. Apologies. But Joseph Smith, as you see there, leading the way. Up the S's he goes. Just clear of, well, just about everybody right now. Flying down the straight they go. Drew Neubauer is going to lead the AMs away in the Team Premac car, but Donald Malcolm has got amongst it. He's up into second place in class right now. Just got to give it a bit of time so that the timing on the left sorts itself out. It'll think that the Pro-Ams are ahead of the Pros right now, as you see. So please just bear with it. But yeah, the Pro field really got going. Really got going. Everybody in the AM class having a good time by the look of it. Louis Rivera's had a problem in the AMs. Oh, it sounds like more contact as well. Seems like there's cars around in certain places. Wondering if we can just check whether we get replays here. Yeah, we do get replays going back. What about going back to live again? Yes, we've got it fixed. Okay. So I apologise for that, everyone. Seems like sometimes turn it off and on again is the best option. Tyler Campbell leads this race at the very, very top. For some reason it thinks that the AMs are ahead of the Pro-Ams right now, and I'm really not sure why. But either way, look at these guys at the front of the entire field. This is the front of the Pro field. Dave Moneno trying to get in behind Tyler Campbell. He's got Koprowski on his right-hand side. The two Lamborghinis together as they go into the bus stop. Koprowski stays in front. Harry Wills is fourth at the moment. He's got Jonathan Ouellette right behind him. Then Daniel Tenorio and John Cooper. At the front of the Pro-Ams, it's Joseph Smith leading the Ferrari of Michael Kulaga. Then Andrew Rasmussen. All of them right together as they go down the back straight. Look at the Audi there. Rasmussen one way, then the other. There we go. The timing tower has sorted itself out. It will gradually sort itself out on my screen as well. Rasmussen down the inside. Lovely stuff on the way to the bus stop. There's still a fight going on though. Logan Vida has to defend from the Riddle Rocket Racing Lamborghini of Wilson Brewer. Just in there is Gary Brown as well. Fantastic fighting though. Absolutely amazing. So many of these guys. 2x2 by 2x2. Oh, Gary Brown just squeezes the nose off Casey Metzger's car there. Look at that though, it's like a rolling start still now. Down the inside goes the Ferrari of Littleton. Nothing doing there. Brent Bravata's just had a problem in his Ferrari. Oh, he's been absolutely elbowed out of the way by one of the Porsches. Oh, and that's broken the suspension. Oh, Brent. Not quite sure, I think that was Jeff Carollo in the Audi, in the Porsche, sorry, it was. There was a further issue just before that with Louis Rivera. This is what happened to him and Brent Bravata. So this is going down to the bus stop. Oh dear, Louis just lost it. Hit the back of Brent, and then, has Brent then... No, that's the second time in 2 laps that Brent's had an issue there by the look of it. Wow. Very front of the field though, it's changing around. Koprowski and Campbell swapping places, those two side by side. Jonathan Ouellette somehow, all of a sudden, is up to 3rd place. There's been a big old crash in the AMs. Oh my goodness me, we've got 5 of them glued together on the infield. We've got the Mercedes of Jason Bridges off there. They're all going to try and get away from the incident. Oh my lord, what has gone on here? Jason Bridges, I think, the one that caused this. Is he going to get any help though? Let's have a look. Up to the hairpin he goes. On the inside line, hits the back of the BMW, gets a hit himself, then hit by a Ferrari, and it all just concertinas together. That's a very, very ugly incident there. A lot of contact that did not need to happen. But sometimes these guys just a little bit too eager, considering that it's a 1 hour and 15-minute race. Certainly a little bit too eager. Now, side by side for the overall race lead between Koprowski and Campbell. Wow, Campbell running out a little bit wide there. Needs to suddenly jink to the left-hand side. Koprowski round the outside. Lovely manoeuvre in the Lamborghini. Holds on to it. Jonathan Houlier just about with these guys, just behind, although it seems to me like for just a second there he had to back out of it. This is on board with Jonathan Houlier in the Ferrari. Tyler Campbell right in front of him. On the brakes down the inside. Dave Moneno looks in there as well, so too does Daniel Tenorio in the Twisted Racing Ferrari. We'll go on board with Daniel. He's got a fantastic view as we go up the hill. Tyler slots in behind Houlier. Koprowski's got a little bit of a gap now, but the slipstreaming in these GT3 cars is such a massive effect. Obviously, with all of the aerodynamics they have. Listen to that Lambo to our right. Makes one hell of a racket. Lifting off here. There's going to be a lot of fuel saving going on. Now, to the inside somewhere is Dave Moneno. He's just slotted it in front of him, though. Good stuff from those guys. This is further down in the Pro-Ams. There's nearly contact there with Jay Steffi in the car in front. Jack Werrell tries to go down the inside. Nothing doing there. Joseph Smith is on the outside of Steffi. They're so close to making contact there. Joseph says, "Now you can try it all you want, mate." Now look at this. Where's Werrell going to go in this one? Is he going to go to the inside? Goes to the right. Oh, Steffi moves over on Smith. He knows he's in front. Werrell's got a good run. He's going to look down the inside. We've got a car off ahead. Through the bus stop side by side. Oh, it's Casey Metzger. Casey Metzger is off the road. What has happened here, sunshine? Oh, he's just done it all on his own. Big, big slide. Holds the brakes. Makes sure that he doesn't come back on the road. That's good awareness, to be fair, and good quick thinking. Now, Donald Malcolm is the man that leads the AM category, and he's got a hell of a lead after that incident that happened before. He's got a hell of a lead over them. It's actually about 3 seconds to Drew Neubauer, not 16, as just quoted on the timing tower for a second there. We just wait for all this calm down, but honestly, it probably won't for quite a while now. I've got a lot to look at on my screen. The timing screen is absolutely alight with cars that are all close together. Listen to the wonderful sound of GT3 machinery screaming its way up the hill. Absolutely in love with it. 2x2 they go down the back straight. That is Harry Wills trying to overtake Moneno. Tenorio overtaking Campbell. Is Campbell going to have to slot in again behind him? No, he actually sticks to the inside. Carries a really nice line through there, does Tyler. And suddenly Moneno is the one attacking Tenorio. Harry Wills is just behind this. He's hoping to look out for his teammate. We look at the Pro-Ams, though. This is the battle for their second, third, fourth, and fifth. Wilson Brewer second. 1.2 seconds behind Andrew Rasmussen, who leads the class at the minute. These four all together. It's down the inside. They all look down the inside of each other anyway. Even further back, there's more shenanigans going on. This is Joseph Smith with Kulaga next to him, side by side. Eric Kulaga goes through. Joseph has to have some room in there somewhere. Finds a tiny gap without making contact. Oh, Eric's just turned into him. Oh, Eric, I think, just clipped the left rear. Apologies to Eric if I was wrong, but that to me looked like there was contact between the two there. Let's have a look. We'll go to L Chopper. This was close anyway. I mean, Eric gets it done. Oh, he's on the curb as well, and to be fair, he was lucky to get away with that. And then, yeah, there is a tap. Eric just, unfortunately, on 2 occasions there, not quite leaving enough room down the inside for a BMW M4 to fit. And Smith has really lost out. From my time broadcasting in this set of leagues across this and the Porsche Cup of the United States, I honestly believe that Joseph Smith is one of the unluckiest drivers when it comes to contact. The poor sausage is always getting biffed out of the way. Look at that run from Tenorio there around the outside of Tyler Campbell. Absolutely flying around the outside. Nothing Tyler can do about it. He's just got to accept that it's part of the racing here at Watkins Glen. You are going to overtake one another time and time again in the slipstream. They have to try and work together to go forward. That's not always easy to do. Now here's two of the BMWs. For some reason, it just reminds me of the Coke Zero branding when I see them red with all the curly writing on the front. Other soft drinks are available. But Kepler's currently in third. Neubauer in second. Donald Malcolm, the only car ahead of them. We've had Joseph Smith go back off the road again. Oh, he's had a spin. Now he's done this all on his own here. Up towards the hairpin. Is he just going to overdo it on the downshift? Well, he just carried a bit too much speed in. Gets on the brakes halfway around the corner and drops it. Jeremy Littleton also just had a problem. Apologies for the sporadic replays, but Jeremy's going to have a big issue coming into the bus stop here. Chucks it right, hits the curb, gets it unsettled. Oh, that's going to be a big hit. Oh, that is a massive hit for Jeremy Littleton, and that is going to be race over, I believe. This is how it looked from inside the car. It's oh so easy to do. In he goes, hits the curb. Oh, it just unsettles it that tiny bit. Oh, that's a violent impact. It's one of the moments where you're glad that it's sim racing, not real world stuff, because that can be a very dangerous accident through there. Look at these lot again, the Pro Class so close together. Now John Cooper in the Turnburn Moto Audi is getting involved in this. He's the orange car on the right hand side of your shot, similar to the Sim 3D car, fades from orange to pink. But Dave Moneno, the man that was almost untouchable at Silverstone, is behind all this. Oh, the shenanigans kicking off. Harry Wills loses the back end. He's had a bit of a nightmare with that Audi. But Harry Wills. Oh, Dave Moneno had nowhere to go. The car's just checked up in front of him. Didn't get the best view of that, admittedly, but still. Oh, that's such a shame, man. Such a shame. Harry Wills now losing out a bit. It's now Daniel Tenorio in second place ahead of Koprowski, who's got Tyler Campbell all over his exhaust pipe. Tyler looks to the inside, wants to go later on the brakes, nothing doing. Koprowski very committed into the heel of the boot. Jack Werrell is chasing down Jeff Carollo on his debut. The two Porsches fighting together. Hard onto the brakes they go as they go back up the hill. This is the toe of the boot. A much smoother surface than it used to be. It used to be very bumpy around there. It's very bumpy where Travis Kepler is. Oh no, I hope he's not collected his teammate in this. Two BMWs chasing each other. Travis brakes later, tries to chuck it in. He's going to have the same issue as Littleton, and that is, well, it's not just an issue, that is race-ending contact with the barrier. So the bus stop has already claimed 2 victims early on in this race. There's Jonathan Ouellette, currently leading the race in the twisted machine. 2 Ferraris out front again. Daniel Tenorio in there. Koprowski doing a good job in third. But right now, at the front of the Pro-Ams, it's close as well. Andrew Rasmussen continues to lead, but for how long? He's got Wilson Brewer's Lamborghini and Logan Vider's BMW right behind him. Closing in time and time again, and look at that, Wilson Brewer taking absolutely no prisoners down the inside into the bus stop, says thank you very much, I will see you soon. John Cooper's off in the Audi. John Cooper has turned and burned his moto. Oh, that sounded good, didn't it? Has he done it on his own? Has he just lost it on the downshift? Just a bit too much speed into there. Oh, it's such a slow, painful spin. Great avoidance by Dave Moneno, but John lets the car roll off the circuit just a little bit too much and damages the rear wing. But he let the car roll back, which most people would say, no, don't do that. But in a situation like that, when rolling back would get you off the circuit and off the racing line, that is the best place to be. And it's the best way to do it. At the end of the day, if you hold the brakes, the car's just going to sit right in front of everybody. We've had a purple Sector 2 for Louis Rivera in the Sim 3D Sport Porsche. So he's certainly on the pace at the moment. Wilson Brewer, though, has not got away from anybody here in this battle for the lead in the Pro-Ams. Oh, my Lord, listen to that Lamborghini purr. Well, it's not really a purr, is it? It is a scream. Oh, you've got to love it. I'm having a bit of a man moment, I'm not going to lie. On board the other 5.2-litre V10 engine car in this battle, the Audi R8 of Andrew Rasmussen. Up the hill we go. Look how gentle they're being on the steering up there. It's so easy to oversteer it and lose the back end. Here comes the slipstream. Let's listen. I think Andrew may be just lifting off slightly. Don't forget, it's an hour and 15 minutes this race round here. We're already a quarter of an hour in. But these guys could potentially save fuel, try and work on some sort of strategy around here. Oh, Drew Neubauer has just lost a couple of places. I'm not quite sure why. Michael Fowler actually is just, as you see there, blinking in and out. So it just says that Drew's losing positions, but he's not. Hopefully that sorts itself out before too long. Here's one of the other FTR Esports cars, Gary Brown. He's got Logan Varda just behind him. Logan in the very angry looking BMW. If you look in the rear view camera, certainly a menacing car to have chasing you down. Not quite as menacing as the Lamborghini, but as Nicky Team once said about the BMW M8 at Le Mans, it feels like you could fall into its grille or just get sucked into it. Battle going on behind as well. Michael Kulaga trying to get one over on Taylor Lane. Jack Werrell has overtaken Jeff Carollo further back as well. Actually, this is Taylor trying to overtake Michael. Apologies. Succeeding at overtaking Michael. Dean Timms is trying to follow him through now in the Twisted Racing Team Ferrari just behind. Here he is. Across the start-finish line once again to complete lap 9 for these guys onto their 10th lap of the race. Doesn't take a genius to do the maths on that one. Dean just following nice and patiently at the moment. Harry Wills is into the pits. Not quite sure whether that's down to damage or whether he's got a drive-through or something to that effect. Dean currently 7th in class, though the leader in that class is still Wilson Brewer, but not by much from Andrew Rasmussen. There's some great fights going on, though, all the way up and down the order. The battle for the overall lead is close, though. This is Jonathan Ouellette just ahead of Daniel Tenorio. Daniel trying to stick with him. Hopefully, for Daniel's sake, they can both move away from the rest of the field together, but you and I all know that that is not an easy thing to do. Because at the end of the day, Jonathan might not know that Daniel wants to move away from the field with him. He might just be thinking, oh no, this guy's going to try and overtake me. Not always the case, though. Here's a trio of Porsches further back. Jack Werrell just ahead of Jeff Carollo and Louis Rivera. Jack having to defend down the inside here. He's put the car in the middle of the road. Where's Jeff going to go? Jeff looks to the inside. Jack doesn't go with him. Jeff has got his nose down the inside. Nearly contact. Very, very close. Jeff chucks the car over to the right-hand side to avoid said contact. Werrell a little bit later on the brakes there. Has the preferred line down the inside. Louis Rivera trying to look in there as well for something to do. John Cooper has just come into the pits in the Turnburn Moto car. He's certainly got damages down the inside. Goes Louis Rivera, chucks one in on Carollo. Doesn't quite work. It was a little bit late, but still. Certainly made his intentions clear, didn't he? He's not messing about here as Carollo then goes down the inside of Werrell into turn 1. Makes sure he doesn't run wide on the exit. And look at that by Rivera. Oh, whoa, whoa. Very, very close out of turn 1 as they go up the hill. Louis on the inside. That's going to become the outside. There's a touch. Wow, oh wow, these boys not giving each other an inch, are they? And now Louis all over the back of Jack Werrell. Side by side into the bus stop. He's trying to squeeze him to the inside. Oh, he's had to turn in late. And that's cost him a lot of time. Now Carollo's back on the scene. Can Jeff get some sort of move done on him? He won't be too impressed after the slight bit of contact going up the hill. That is not a place where you want to have even the slightest touch with another car. Oh, Jeff, that's not necessary. Oh, that feels like a bit of retaliation to me. That felt like a lot of retaliation to me from Jeff Carollo. He obviously wasn't happy with the contact as they went up the hill, and it was a late dive. Louis gave enough of a car's width down the inside, and Jeff unfortunately making contact there, has to be said. It's not the worst thing we've ever seen, of course, but still, it was a shame that it had to happen that way. Up the hill once again come our race leaders then. Jonathan Ouellette just ahead of Daniel Tenorio. Daniel's starting to make moves now. He's at least changing his direction behind the race leader, but now they're just holding themselves up. Look, Ryan Koprowski just gained 0.2 of a second in that corner alone. Koprowski right with them. Well, I'll say right with them. He's within a second anyway. He's closed in. Certainly is helping him out, that's for sure. Donald Malcolm continues to lead in the AM class. In the BRM Racing red car. He's right behind Louis Rivera, actually, who of course is in Pro-Am. So they're not going to be battling for a position. Well, not one that affects the points anyway. But to be fair, Donald not scared of having a go, is he? He doesn't need to, though, because at the end of the day, he's quite far out in front in his own class. There is the gap, 10 seconds to Drew Neubauer. So Drew not really in fighting contention right now. But at the very front of the field, we need to stick with this because it's a very interesting fight. Top three covered by just over a second. Ryan Koprowski in third place is the man chasing at the moment. Let's go on board with the dramatic Lamborghini Huracan Gt3 Evo. This brilliant sounding car. Screaming down the back straight we go. Over 250 kilometers an hour. He's going to get to at least 260, isn't he, before we get to the bus stop braking zone. Oh, I didn't quite show it. Ryan's obviously heard me and he's got no chance. You're wrong. Great pace through there, though, from Ryan. He makes this Lamborghini look so stable. It's a car that tries to kill you with the rear end all of the time. He's actually closing in right now on Daniel Tenorio as well. 22 minutes gone in this race. Still plenty of time for things to change ever further. Here's something that's changing ever further. Jack Werrell and Jeff Carollo. Jack hasn't been able to leg it up the road as he would have liked. Carollo just trying to follow as closely as he can, but it's tough to follow around there because it's so easy for somebody to make a mistake and have an accident, and then you can get caught up in it before you know it. John Casey's just had a problem in his Porsche. Is it just going to be a spin on the way into turn one? Whoa, John. What has happened there? Bounces off the wall and carries on as if nothing happened, but let's go on board and see what was the situation here. Oh, he's distracted by something there. 100% distracted by something there is John Casey. You could tell he missed his gear shift as well on the way up. And all of a sudden, it was as if he just forgot to brake completely. Chucked the car to the right. Now, if you look at the timing tower, there's only one car on there that isn't a sort of crest shape logo, which is the BMW. And that BMW is Drew Neubauer, Team Prema, currently in second position. Some 11.5 seconds off Donald Malcolm. He's doing an amazing job, is Donald, absolutely flying. But Drew is just guiding this BMW round as well as he needs to at the moment. The M4, quite a stable car, but obviously front engine, you can chuck the weight in a little bit too hard sometimes. Very similar in the way that the BMW Z4 was like that too. But still a very reliable and very dependent GT3 car. This is Jack Werrell trying to defend from Jeff Carollo. Jeff's down the inside at the carousel. Jack gives him all the room in the world on the left hand side. He's even on the white line. Oh, Jeff's asking a lot of him there. Oh, seems like we've got some themes here with certain drivers that don't want to give a single centimetre or an inch, however you want to measure it. Louis Rivera's just had an issue, I think, just in front of these guys. He's just got back on the road. Although that looked like a Ferrari, it was Brent Bravata. Let's see what happened to Louis. This is down into turn 1. Oh, it's just started rotating. I think maybe damage to the rear wing. Although he did follow the BMW off the road, and oh, he's backed it in again. And then Brent Bravata went around at the toe of the boot. This is just in front of Werrell and Carollo that we were looking at there. Oh, just on the downshift, just turns it in. Back end comes around. This is Werrell on his way into the pits now. So some drivers making their first stop around the 25-minute mark, which is what we saw at Silverstone. Daniel Tenorio has taken the lead on this lap, by the way, from Jonathan Houlier. You can see that by the fact that their LED numbers on the windscreen are 2 and 1 in the reverse order, of course. But these guys have been scrapping for a few laps now, and Daniel is, of course, just fighting for every single moment that he can. Ryan Koprowski's got a front row seat for all of it, and a decent gap back to Tyler Campbell, nearly 5 seconds. Dave Moneno there just clearing a bit of lap traffic. That's the number 54 car of Michael Fowler that he's just gone past. But the closest 2 cars on the track are these guys, our overall race leaders. Wonderful shot there of the Ferrari right behind. Tenorio looks to the left. Koprowski and Campbell have both come into the pits. They're thinking, right, I don't want to get stuck up behind anybody that's battling here. If these 2 guys continue to fight, Koprowski could end up in the lead of this race. Look at the run that Houlier has got there. Tenorio leaves a bit of space on the right-hand side. This is what I mean. This is going to slow them down. They're not going to be able to keep this sort of fighting up if they want to stay ahead of Koprowski. Side by side down the back straight. Tenorio on the outside, probably with the optimum line. If he can carry the speed, if Houlier backs out. No, Houlier does not back out. He throws the car down the inside. Thank you very much, he says. Hip, hop, and a skippity jump over the curbs. And he takes the overall race lead back from Daniel Tenorio. In the AM class, it's still Donald Malcolm. Pro-Ams, still Andrew Rasmussen. He came under some pressure earlier. But now, he's absolutely on it. Now there is Tyler Campbell. That is not where he wants to come out at all with traffic around him. He needs to make sure he stays in front of these guys. Koprowski was in the pits for 21 seconds. Tyler Campbell was in there for 19. So the gap is 2.9 seconds now. It was much bigger before, but look, Tyler's under pressure. He's got Casey Metzger in there. That's 28th place. That's side by side with him. Brent Bravata. He really doesn't need these guys fighting around him or even with him. He needs to just break free. This is Jonathan Houlier, still in the lead of this race. I say that like it was a while since we spoke to him, or at least looked at him, but it's only a couple of corners. He makes it clear he's pitting. So too does Daniel Tenorio, but Daniel uses a bit more of an everyday line on the way in. Dave Moneno also coming into the pits as well. That means Andrew Rasmussen is going to be the next car on the lead lap to come around and potentially go anywhere near pit lane. Back end steps out a little bit there as he comes out of the left-hander at the top of the hill. It's great that the Audi is still very, very similar to its real-world counterpart, isn't it? Front end may be a bit different by now, but it's still great to have a modern-ish Audi in the sim. It's been around for a while now as the R8 GT3. They're on the Evo 2 version of it now, with the very fancy rear wing supports that come out from behind the wing and then over the top. This is Gary Brown just chasing down Taylor Lane's BMW. Taylor holding on for now. We look back from the big beefy M4 backside. Interesting noise that this thing makes as well, the 6-cylinder engine from the BMW M4. Plenty of power. They're incredibly powerful units. Taylor carries on for another lap. There's a bunch of drivers that aren't pitting at the moment. Wilson Brewer has inherited the lead in Pro-Am. But there is Andrew Rasmussen. And they're side by side as he comes out of the pits. This is for the class lead. Both of them have pitted. And Brewer has it for just a second. But is Rasmussen going to get enough of a run? Is he going to get enough slipstream to go down this back straight and retake that lead? Jonathan Ouellette is 3 seconds clear of Koprowski. Tenorio 1.2 seconds behind Koprowski. So not quite sure what's happened there between those three, but Wilson Brewer leads Pro-Am. That's a fact. Okay, so looking at the timing, Jonathan Ouellette was in the pits for 18 seconds. Koprowski and Tenorio in there for 21. However, Koprowski doing the undercut, pitting 1 lap earlier, has certainly made all the difference because he didn't have to deal with the traffic. He didn't have to deal with Tenorio and Ouellette fighting. So he's been able to just do his own thing and move off from there. Everyone in the field so far has done at least 1 pit stop, shown on the left-hand side there as you see. Everybody has at least 1 stopped so far. So everything's back in sync for now. We'll have to wait and see how that changes over the rest of the race. As around goes Tom Cornett in the Team Premac Red BMW. That'll be a frustrating slide for him. Let's have a look. Hopefully he didn't get any help. No, just went a little bit too hot there, did Tom. And we've seen that a lot in these GT3 cars, even just over the course of tonight. You know, you try and push this car, or any of them, too fast into a corner, they will, rather than just understeer, they will oversteer and go around on you bit by bit. Looks like John Casey's car just needs a little bit of finishing up on the livery there. There's a lot of big white sections down the side of it. Not quite sure what they're for, or whether it is part of the livery, but doesn't seem to match the rest. My fan club has arrived in the YouTube chat. Good to see you. Back up the hill, round the long left-hander we go. It's such a difficult part of the circuit, that, because you do go over the top of the hill, and then you've got to get on the brakes and then get the car turned in. It can be a real nightmare. That corner is just known as turn 9. Doesn't seem to have a name. But either way, we've got the 90, which is this corner here that John Casey's going through up towards the S's. Then back straight, the loop, shoot, toe, boot, and heel. Very simple naming system for this track, which I am a fan of. Brent Bravata's had more problems in this Ferrari. This is Dave Moneno coming to lap him down the inside, hopefully. As all, Brent's got him way too hot there. He's going to clip the grass, and around she goes. Number 11 car, unfortunately, rotating a bit much compared to what he liked. Oh, 3-point turn there is very risky, Brent. Then again, there wasn't a massive amount that he could do. Now this is for second place overall in this race. Ryan Koprowski, second position in the Lamborghini, splitting the field of Ferraris. We have Tenorio and Campbell behind him. Look at this though, Tenorio trying to look down the inside. He's trying to at least find somewhere to go. He just wants to have a quick look anywhere he can. Hard onto the brakes, up through the toe. Tries to just tuck it in, doesn't he, does Daniel? Oh, Tom Cornett's had another spin in the BMW. He's having a nightmare with it tonight, isn't he? Let's have a look. It's just going to be on the downshift again, listen. That's it. Just literally, it just snaps the car around. Like, it just activates the spin when you downshift at the wrong time in this sort of car. Even in the Porsche Cup car as well, the 992. If you have a downshift at the wrong point, or even an upshift, you know, you can overly load the rear wheels or just sort of spike the revs a bit much. And it causes a lot of problems. Koprowski then leads this gaggle. I say this gaggle, they're actually a bit spread out, aren't they? Did look closer from the straightforward shot there, but Daniel Tenorio is now up into second place. Nice move down the inside, and he's actually got a good bit of ground on Koprowski out of turn 1. Half a second between the two of them. as they go up the hill. Through to the right, down the back straight. Love that shot there and all the distortion on it as well. Sounds absolutely wonderful. Into the bus stop. Whoa, big jump on the way into the bus stop there for Daniel. Certainly wobbles the car around quite a lot. Jeff Carollo's had an issue. He'd overtaken Jack Werrell at this point. Oh, up into the long left. Oh no, he's just going to go in a little bit too hot. Clips the grass and no. Oh, that's a big old hit, that. Big hit. Jack Werrell goes through. So too does Eric Kulaga and Donald Malcolm eventually. Have to see if we can catch up with Jeff. Oh, yeah, he's still got damage on the front of the car. The field very spread out right now, to be honest with you. There's only two pairs of cars that are less than a second apart, and that's Taylor Lane and Gary Brown, the fiercely forward BMW and the FTR Esports Porsche. And it was Koprowski and Tenorio, but Tenorio's actually gapped him on this lap, and he is now quite a bit further ahead. Harry Wills has gone off the road again in the Audi. Harry's had a very tough season with this car. He's certainly not having the best of times. Wow. That's a big shunt for Harry Wills. As whoa, my goodness me, nearly takes out his teammate. John Casey has had an issue as well. See, Harry got going again, and then I think because he's damaged the left-hand side of it so much, he's going to turn in here, and the car is going to say, no, thank you. Yes, indeed, it goes around. He's still off the road now. Still trying to get going again. Certainly taking his time with that one. But we are now over the halfway mark. Not too long left to go in this race right now. And Taylor was resetting his pedals, by the way, during the warm-up lap. That's why he suddenly stopped at the side of the road. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in so far. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hope you're enjoying the race. And, of course, me, Chaz Draycott. Don't forget, if you are enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you do subscribe to the Absolute Sim Racing channel. And, of course, like this video as well. If it's the first time you've seen us, you'd want to remember it, wouldn't you? But we hit 500 subscribers the other day, for which we are very grateful. We hope to continue growing at the pace that we are. There's plenty of racing and plenty of action still to be broadcasted here on our channel. So there is always a lot to look forward to. And we hope that you will stay with us through all of the events that we cover. Here is Daniel Davis, currently 4th in his class. In a bit of no man's land, really. He's got about 7 seconds back to Hebb, who's, of course, on his debut tonight. And in front of Davis, you've got Neubauer, but he is quite a bit further ahead as well. James Hebb, 5th place at the moment, started 23rd overall. He's currently 21st, so it's a gain at least. The race leader at the moment is Jonathan Ouellette, and he has started to bolt away. He's got a 5-second gap over Tenorio. He's really started moving. He's got going very quickly indeed. 5.1 seconds now as he goes into the bus stop. Need to have a look here. Because Jay Steffi is all over the back of Michael Kulaga. These two both love a good scrap on track. Jay Steffi in the Q3 SimSport car looks to the inside. But Michael Kulaga drives around the corner as if he's not there. He's just like, nah, I don't care what you're doing, mate. You can do whatever you want, but you're not getting past me. You can see 220 kilometres an hour, 230 kilometres an hour, 240. And there goes Kulaga. Sorry, there goes Jay Steffi on the right-hand side. He's moving over and over and over a little bit. Down the inside he goes. Steffi goes through. Lovely stuff. 7th in class for him. Love the beard. Round the carousel. Such a rewarding corner when you get it right as the carousel. It's a really nice place to be. But sometimes if you just push it in that little bit too hot, it can get away from you. It'll be a real nightmare. It's not far to go when you go off the circuit there before you hit a wall of some description. And And that's one of the savage things about Watkins Glen. It's an old school circuit like that. You really, really do not get long before you hit something pretty serious if you have a moment off the road. But Jay Steffi now quite happily into 7th place. Andrew Rasmussen still second in Pro-Am, but he has got Logan Vida closing down on him in the BMW. We'll stay with Logan for just a moment, see what this chase looks like from his perspective. Just behind the dashboard here of the BMW M4 GT3 for Team Premac. Just listening to the upshifts on this car, they certainly sound very, very clunky, don't they? They've got a certain noise about them. It just looks like Rasmussen's able to get away. Still, the chase is on. At certain points you can see the strengths and weaknesses of these cars. See the way that the BMW, it just, while it's a little bit understeery, it just seems so stable, doesn't it? You can hear the V10 in the back of the Audi. It's a great chase at the moment, isn't it? Still, this circuit with so much flow to it, really, really hard to chase other cars on. Oh, bit of a moment on the grass there for Logan. Now we've seen cars go into the wall for less than that. You can hear the tyres scraping. Just hear them scrubbing against the surface, making the iconic noise that they do on iRacing that everyone knows and, well, I was going to say knows and loves, but we all know and hate. Up the hill though, that BMW looks really potent as it goes around there, but just quite the same sort of pace, is it? This is John Casey, who's just been overtaken by Joseph Smith. Of course, the two of them in different classes, so he doesn't really have to worry about being overtaken there. He just needs to make sure that if there is lap traffic around him or cars that are sort of unlapping themselves, that you have to make yourself as little of a nuisance as possible, really. You have to just be predictable, and if you are going to get out of the way and change your line, you have to make sure that you don't do it last second. You have to make your intentions very clear as a lapped car or a lapping car. Now then, as we look further up the order, Tenorio is now in a bit of no man's land. Can he get the foot down and crack on with this? Or are we going to be seeing him sort of drop back a little bit more into potentially the clutches of Ryan Koprowski? But Ryan, to be honest, as you see in the background there, and Dave Moneno, not quite close enough to do anything just yet. Now let's see what happened to Michael Fowler here, because Michael's had an off. He's already got damage on the front left. Oh my goodness me, he's really misjudged that one. He's turned the front end of this Ferrari into an open wheeler, it has to be said. Let's just have a look on board. Maybe the damage, something to do with that. Yeah, it looked like it was going to over-rotate anyway, didn't it? On the way in. He's also had another issue after this. I think he's maybe just figured out that the car is very, very broken. Yeah, he drives not very far, realises it's crabbing, and then I think he's going to pull it over, is he? He's tried to recover it at least. Let's just stick with it, see how this ends up. He's on the outside of the carousel, trying to stay out of the way at least. I think he's maybe realised it's going to be a nightmare at some point. Maybe a spin. No, still going. Yeah, this will be him pulling over now. He's just thinking, no, let's not get in the way. Fair play. It's not an easy decision to make that when you realise that your race is over. You have to sort of make the bigger decision and just think, no, the car is not worth... Oh, now that is Wilson Brewer. Wilson Brewer from the lead of the Pro-Am category has spun it on the way up into the final sector. I cannot believe it. Oh, he clips the curb. Oh, he's just going to run wide, hit the grass. Oh, and he hits it against the wall, and it's a multiple spin as well. It goes each and every way. Oh, my goodness me. No, everybody's going off. Oh, Drew Neubauer's off. Drew Neubauer is off in the background there, but also he was joined by somebody. Wow, that's race leader. Race leader Jonathan Ouellette is in the barrier, and it is race over. Surely with that sort of damage, I cannot believe it. There's cars off all over the place. There is cars off absolutely everywhere. It may not have looked like it there, but trust me, you will see Drew Neubauer off the road. Oh, don't tell me he's just going to jump back on. Oh, no. Oh, Drew, you can't. No, Drew, you can't. 3-point turn like that across the road, man. Oh, that's absolutely devastating. Louis Rivera's had his own problem elsewhere on the circuit. He's going to have a spin up here. So these were the cars that we saw off the road. So Louis had a spin. Oh, he's in the middle of the track. Is he going to reverse to try and get out of the way? Oh, no, Louis. Oh, man. It's some of the decisions that have been made here, you have to question them. Harry Wills has had an attempt at getting out of the pit lane. Now that's in front of Rasmussen and the other guys now. He's decided to call it quits there. Now Jeff Carollo's gone off track. Oh, Jeff smacks into Louis. Obviously not going quickly, well, obviously not going slowly enough for the incident. And now Jay Steffi's had an issue as well. The standards have gone downhill here, boys. Jay's pushing this car as hard as he can. Whoa, 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 whoa. But it has to be said, I mean, that wasn't a fantastic rejoin either, but I mean, Drew there, fair enough, he's out of the way, but you'd at least try and sort of keep it off the racing line, but he's parked it on the apex, which means Jonathan thinks, right, go around him, and then he reverses. It's just not good enough, I'm afraid, that. And that is a really sad end to what has been an incredible race for Jonathan Ouellette. I cannot believe it. Daniel Tenorio can't believe it either. He is now leading this race. And he's got 2.6 seconds back to Ryan Koprowski. And he's going to be a very, very happy boy with that. Especially as Koprowski and Moneno are having a fight now, actually. These two starting to come together and make it an all Lamborghini fight. Let's see if Moneno can do anything in the slipstream here to really close in. Because, of course, he's going to have a big, big run up the back straight, up the S's. He might even try and go down the inside before that. He does. He puts his nose down the inside. Round the outside for this section. If he can hang his nose down the inside there, then he might have a good run, but he's not got any slipstream. So, at the end of the day, he's not going to have as much of a run into the bus stop as he would have wanted. He's got a few car lengths between himself and Koprowski right now. We'll go on the nose cam of the car. Look at that wonderful sky in the background. You'd love to see it. Fantastic sound from these Lamborghinis. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? What an incredible sounding car Lamborghini have made. What an amazing engine Lamborghini have made. As down the inside, Moneno goes. and goes up into second place. Now look at that. Dives right over to the right-hand side straight away to try and cover it off. Koprowski down the inside saying no thank you. Down the inside, I say. Round the outside, I should say. Just waiting to see now whether Koprowski can make anything in the slipstream either. But right now, Moneno, as we saw, incredible pace at Silverstone. He's got exactly the same right now. Andrew Rasmussen still leading in the Pro-Am category. And he has got only 6/10 over Logan Vida, who's only got 9/10 over Taylor Lane. Taylor, of course, debuting in this championship tonight. The other debutants in this tonight are Jack Werrell for Zealous Sim Sports. He's currently 12th overall, 8th in class at the minute. And then James Hebb, who is currently 2nd in his class as well. He's having a really good run, is James Hebb. Fair play to him. That Lamborghini is certainly doing him some justice right now. Just trying to see if there's any lap times that are really standing out amongst the certain classes. See if there's anybody that's miles faster than the cars ahead, but no. Drew Neubauer has had another issue here. He's got what's left of the car still circulating, but I think he's decided that enough is enough there, and I don't think the car is going to give him any more. Look at this battle though for the top 3 in the Pro-Ams. This is very close indeed. Now, who do you think is going to come out on top in this one, guys? Because this is certainly not an easy one to call. Now there's a bit of traffic involved, and it just happens to be one of the other Team Premac cars as well. This could certainly change things if they want to play the team game here with Andrew Rasmussen, but no, Andrew says, nah, I'm not having any part of that, mate. I'm going straight into the pits. Thank you very much. And Andrew gets out of that situation. Now Logan is going to have Taylor right behind him here. So there's potential that this could change things as well. Because if these two keep fighting hard enough, that means that, of course, Rasmussen will have more of a gap on them. He has pitted earlier as well. He's gone for the cutback, or at least the undercut. The BMW staying to one side. Whoa, no, he's not. Oh, no, team contact there. Well, if you're going to get out of the way, you've got to get out of the way. Tom Cornett there making a bit of a hash of that one to try and help his teammate. Wow. Logan Vida won't thank him for that one, I can tell you that for free. He will not be thanking him at all. Taylor Lane now takes the lead as well. Always happens just as I look at the timings to try and analyse stuff. But look, Taylor puts his nose down the inside. Nice decisive move there. And of course on his debut in the series, Taylor leads the class. And now he's going to try and open up the gap a little bit. Here's a sort of inter-class battle. This is Casey Metzger just on the back of Daniel Davis. Daniel Davis, of course, in the AM class. So right now, there doesn't need to be a fight, and of course there isn't. Casey Metzger carries on moving forward. He is 9th in his class at the minute. I'm sure that Casey would prefer to be much higher up than that. He was earlier on in the race, of course, but he had that spin. I think Jonathan Ouellette has actually tried to come out of the pits. Let's have a look here. Oh no, he has tried to get going, but no, he's decided that the car is a mess. Goes back into his garage, retreats back into the shell. That is such a massive shame. Such a massive shame, because Jonathan Ouellette was absolutely flying in this race. And I'm afraid that it was all undone in a way that was completely not his fault. So a quick look then. Daniel Tenorio leads the race overall, 3.3 seconds back to Dave Moneno, who is just there, and he's got 2.7 seconds back to Ryan Koprowski. They are 3 of 4 pros at the moment still running. Tyler Campbell pitted on lap 29. This is currently his 30th lap, so Tyler has just pitted. That's why he is out of sync with the rest of them. And in the Pro-Ams, I'm just trying to figure out who has pitted and when. Of course, Taylor Lane hasn't pitted yet, but out of all of them, Andrew Rasmussen is the one that's pitted early. Dean Timms and Jay Steffi have also pitted. So too has Jack Werrell, actually. They've all had their second sets of stops. So we wait to see what Taylor, Logan and some of the other guys a bit further up can manage. Daniel Davis is currently at the head of the AM field, but he is yet to pit. He last pitted on lap 15. James Hebb just behind, pitted on lap 15. John Casey pitted on lap 29. Donald Malcolm was the one that was leading the class outright for ages, actually. What happened to Donald? Where's he gone? Oh, don't tell me that Donald was caught up in some of the incidents before. No, actually. I do not see what happened to Donald. He entered the pit lane. That's for his usual pit stop, I believe. Just see if I can see him leaving the pit lane. Yeah, he left the pit lane. This is when he finally gets going. I'll tell you what, we'll... Further on, this is when he comes out of the pits. Now, he entered the pits again after that. And hasn't left. Not a clue why. Oh, no, he has literally left the pits not too long ago, but something has gone awry there, because Donald is now a few laps down. That's odd. So another lead has changed in a way that I cannot even describe. Daniel Davis now at the head of it, but as mentioned, still has to pit. James Hebb is just coming out of the pits now. He's on his way out. Where is John Casey in all of this? John Casey's a long, long way back, so it might actually be between Daniel and James. And the race leaders are in and back out again. Look how close they are as well. Daniel Tenorio in there for 16 seconds. Dave Moneno in there for 14.7. So this now is the battle to the end. We've got just over 15 minutes left of this one. And this is going to go all the way to the end, I reckon, unless we have some sort of major attrition between the two of them, which we obviously don't want. This has been a fantastically interesting race. There's been so much going on, though. Some of it absolutely ruthless. So who's your money on, everybody? At the end of the day, Tyler Campbell could still win this race. He's 14 seconds back on these guys, but he could still win this. There's certainly going to be a lot of protesting and a lot of frustrated drivers, I'm sure, in the chat. I'm just trying to see now. Daniel Davis is in the pits. He's going to get going just about now. He was stationary for 16.9 seconds. James Hebb was stationary for 17. James is just coming into the final corner now. It would be an absolute amazing performance for James Hebb to get a win in the AM class on his debut in the championship, wouldn't it? Now here's Daniel. He's about to get on the power out of the pit lane. James has gone past him. He's going to go round the outside, and James surely he's going to have this. The Rhino Motorsports Lamborghini leads the AM class there. Daniel Davis second place, and he's got some traffic going around him, so he's going to have to be careful, and that is our race leaders, Daniel Tenorio and Dave Moneno. So, Daniel Davis second. James Hebb now takes the class lead. And after the pit stops, Logan Vida and Taylor Lane are right together for the Pro-Am lead. Taylor, another debutant as well. Incredible by these guys that are making their debuts tonight, certainly doing it in style. So, an hour of the race gone, 15 minutes left to go. That is as much as a very, very short sprint race. And can Taylor, in that time, get this done? He may as well just sit behind Logan Vida for quite a bit now and just use the slipstream when it comes to the final laps. Bit of slipstream coming off the car in front there as well, which I believe is the 046 car of John Casey. He gets out the way nice and promptly. Certainly looks odd the front of that BM, doesn't it, when it's blanked off like that in the fiercely forward livery, but I suppose it's better than the snout that it usually has. This is Dean Timms, by the way, on the back of Andrew Rasmussen. Dean won the Pro-Am class, I believe, at Silverstone. It was just a week ago, but it does feel like forever ago. Of course, these broadcasts for me quite early on in the morning, starting at about 1:15 a.m, finishing just before 3 a.m. after we've done interviews and all sorts. I do enjoy it though. It's great to see some solid GT3 racing. Just a bit of a shame about some of the standards that we saw earlier for that sort of minute or so. It was just utter chaos and some very poor rejoins by drivers, just maybe not making the right decision. But sometimes when you're in the sim, it is, I must admit, it's very hard to know exactly where your car is on the road. You may be sat in the middle of the track, but you'll think that you've got the back end right up against the barrier, or you've got the nose right up against the barrier. So you have to make a decision on which way to go and do it quickly. You don't want to sit there and just float around the middle of the road. You know, these drivers need to get back on it, but you've got to think about how long you are going to cover the road off for. Because at the end of the day, if you drive back onto the racing line, then that's probably a worse situation. You can always try and flick these cars around, but sometimes you just really have to sit and just wait until you've got a definite clear point to get going. Here's a clear point to go down the inside from Jay Steffi, trying it on Michael Kulaga, gets it done. He's now into 6th place in his class. 12.5 minutes to go. It's getting ever closer to the end of this race, and we've got battles at the front of 2 of the classes, one of which is the overall leaders in the race, Tenorio and Moneno. This is Tenorio's Ferrari, and that is Moneno's Lamborghini. Right on the back of us now. Such a gorgeous looking machine. Very menacing as well, but look at this. Not sure if Moneno's actually going to go for a move yet, or if he's just going to try and annoy Tenorio a little bit. Oh, he is looking down the inside actually, is Moneno. He's thinking, right, I'm going to go for it now. If I was him, I'd just wait until the end of the race. Just wait till the final lap to use the slipstream. But no, Tenorio right with him. They make a little bit of contact as they go up the hill. Maybe a bit unnecessary. Bump drafting doesn't quite work in GT3 cars. Someone needs to tell Daniel that. They've got AM-class leader just behind. Oh, you've got to be so careful like that when you're moving around on the back of other cars, that you don't just sort of slice across the rear diffuser and spin them off the road. Moneno all over the curbs. Great racing side by side round the bus stop, round the carousel. Tenorio squeezing Moneno to the inside. Is Dave going to give as good as he gets? We've seen Dave be very, very fair as a racer so far. Swings it around the outside, leaves plenty of room, tries to carry the pace, still side by side. We've come through the chute now, going down towards the toe of the boot. They're going to suddenly go uphill again. Down they go, hard onto the brakes, then back up the hill. through the long right. I realised there that I did say up, then down. Brilliant stuff, Chaz. But still, Moneno in the lead. And this is going on further back as well. This is for the Pro-Am lead. Taylor Lane down the inside into the bus stop. And he takes the lead in that class now from Logan Vida. Rasmussen and Timms also having a scrap. These guys could close in, you know, if they keep their wits about them for the end of this race. And if the two guys ahead keep battling. But overall, Dave Moneno is in the lead. And can he break away from this now? Because we know how quick Tenorio is. But Dave really needs a win right now because he won the pre-season testing at Suzuka, the pre-qualifying. And then he was leading every lap but one at Silverstone. And that was the one where he disconnected right near the end of the race. And as we said at the time, we usually attribute that sort of as a sim racing equivalent to a mechanical failure in the car or something else. But even at Suzuka, Dave did not really lead many laps at all until the last couple when Harry Wills was in front of him in the Audi and everybody just about fell off in front of him, to be honest. But Dave was there being consistent, keeping it clean, doing everything he had to do to win that race. And he's doing it again here. We saw earlier in the race that he was at the very back of the pro category. He wasn't too worried about fighting hard from the get-go. He just wanted to see what happened and try and react to whatever anyone else was doing. And he's done a great job of it so far. Tenorio, though, all over the back of him, looking around this way, then that way. Listen to this thing, man. It's absolutely unbelievable. I know I say it a lot, and I'm really sorry, everyone, but honestly, just would you? That behind them there is James Hebb, who's leading the AM class. I'm sure he'll be pretty happy to just follow these guys. There's a car at the side of the road there, but I didn't catch who that was. One of the Audis, I think. Just looking over at my right monitor, but it's not said anybody's had a stop or anybody's sort of come to a halt or anything on the circuit, so I'm not quite sure what that's about. Either way, this fight carries on. Less than 10 minutes to go now in this race here at Watkins Glen. It's been a thoroughly entertaining second round in the Race Anywhere World Series US. It's certainly been one that's going to raise a couple of eyebrows when it comes to some of the driving standards. Well, some of these guys will not be too chuffed with their competitors, and organisers will have to do a lot of finger wagging to say, no, please don't. But that's what keeps this sort of stuff interesting, isn't it? A bit of drama here and there. Logan Vida still in second place. He's trying to follow along Taylor Lane. See how less dramatic it is on board with the BMW M4. Feels a lot more chill, doesn't it? Even with this angle as well on the dashboard. Just feels nowhere near as dramatic. Down into turn one again. These guys now on their 38th lap of the race. Doesn't sound like too many, does it? But it's quite a long lap here at Watkins Glen. In a GT3 car, it's 1 minute 45 seconds. So nearly 2 minutes a lap. Some of these guys getting very close to their best laps as well at this later stage in the race. The track is getting cooler. The weather, as you see on the right hand side there, 23 degrees. Now, Logan Vida, I was going to say before, he dropped off a little bit from Taylor Lane here. That might be why. He's having to fuel save in the latter stage of this race. Maybe he's not fueled it enough. You can just hear cars bouncing and dancing around. Dean Timms has passed Andrew Rasmussen and then lost the place again. Andrew's got back in front. Oh, Andrew's gone very, very deep through the chute though. Oh, he tries to close the line off down the inside, corrects it. Dean's on his left. Dean backs out a bit. He says, no, I don't want to do that much to you. Harry Wills has unfortunately stopped again. I think he just keeps trying to get the car repaired and it's not working for him. This is a great fight for the final podium spot in the AM class. Andrew Rasmussen's been really, really strong this race. Just wasn't quite able to hold on to the lead for the duration, but still very impressive, it has to be said. We wait to see whether Dean Timms can push hard enough to get through. So here's Dave Moneno. Nearly 1 hour and 10 minutes of the way through this race. Only a handful of laps left for now, surely. Well, the SRT Esport Lamborghini has been on a mission from this very, very start. Not just of the race, but of the season. And he continues to be the real benchmark in consistency, that's for sure. Some drivers may qualify a bit faster than him, or may just have a little bit more pace in certain scenarios, but honestly, when it comes to consistently being quick, Dave Moneno has been very, very untouchable. Tenorio's done a great job at sticking with him, but I'm sure that Dave will argue that the slipstream is mainly to blame for that one. And here's Dean Timms and Andrew Rasmussen still fighting this one out. The golden glow is in the sky now. Certainly looks beautiful, doesn't it? Oh, Andrew again running deep into there. That's twice he's done it, but look at the run that he gets off the corner there. The Audi just squats the back end down and just shoots its way out. It's brilliant. Wonderful reflections as we go up there around the toe of the boot. Dean just clips the curb a little bit, means that the car doesn't get as smooth a run as he would have wanted. But up the hill we go, hard onto the brakes, into the heel of the boot. Rasmussen in this section for sure, starting to get away, but very, very deep into the hairpin at the top. Suddenly Dean Timms is back in on this one. Dean's not going to have an easy time at getting through, I can tell you that for free, because that Audi in certain sections there really looks quick. It's all about how Andrew Rasmussen can wrangle it around. So Dave Moneno and Daniel Tenorio are on their 40th lap of the race. 1 hour and 11 minutes have surpassed us as of right now. There you go. So 4 minutes to go. That is, I'm going to say 3 laps. So not long at all for Moneno. Look at the speed of the Ferrari in a straight line there in the slipstream. Dean's just hanging back behind him here. I think that Dean is just waiting for that final lap. That's when he's going to make sure he's got the run out of turn 1. That's when he's going to use the slipstream, and then he's going to try to stay ahead for the remainder of the lap. The only problem is the punch that this Audi gets out of here. It's very, very potent on the way out of the chute. Andrew gets it stopped early, but then just floors it and just disappears up the road. And then even here, out of the toe of the boot, he's got a brilliant run up the hill. And if he's back in the slipstream behind Dean on the final lap, he could easily overtake him again. There's a car there's a car in front of us there. I think that's Drew Neubauer. It is indeed. It's what's left of his BMW being circulated. He's still out there trying to get points. He's realised that there's not many AM drivers running actually at the moment. So he's currently 4th in class. Or he's not done Dean any favours there, has he? Dean gets held up a little bit. Gap opens up to 0.7 of a second. Dave Moneno and Daniel Tenorio about halfway round the lap at the moment. It's been a thrilling race. Absolutely thrilling once again. Wonderful format for this championship. Always keeps drivers and even us commentators on our toes. But Rasmussen, I'll be pretty pleased about that little moment just a second ago where Dean has lost quite a bit of ground. It's 0.8 now, actually. Dean's not able to match him in that final sector, it seems. Down the back straight again. The slipstream won't be as strong here. Now, Logan Vida, of course, having to fuel save, has started to really drop back here, you know. Let's listen again to Logan's car. Oh, he's out. He's out of fuel. Logan is out of fuel, and that is exactly why he's really dropping down. He's under-fueled it. We saw him fuel saving earlier. That means that Andrew Rasmussen and Dean Timms are both on for a podium right now. No matter what they do, that is gutting for Logan Vida, though. He's had such a solid race. But it has all come undone now. And wow, Dave Moneno, fastest lap of the race last time round. Really, really showing his class. And we should actually have this as the final lap of the race. Taylor Lane, I can't believe this. Taylor Lane leading the Pro-Am class on his debut. James Hebb leading the AM class on his debut. Awesome stuff, boys. Absolutely awesome stuff. But here is Dave Moneno. The lights have come on now. And for sure, Dave on his way to a win. For sure. He must be. You can smell it from here. 40 seconds left of the race to go. He's going to hope that this is the final lap as well, because I know that some of these guys really do cut it fine with the fuel. They make sure there's only a drop left in it by the time it gets across the line. We don't have to do any fuel sampling or anything here, boys. Hope you've enjoyed this race, though, so far, everybody. Don't forget, we will try and have a chat with at least a driver or two once the race is concluded. But Dave has been very, very sturdy again in this race. That Lamborghini just looks so solid, doesn't it? Everywhere it goes. The clock ticks over to 1 hour and 15 minutes. And Dave Moneno has one more corner to go. The win eluded him at Silverstone, but he's got a fantastic one done here. Dave Moneno for SRT Esport wins at Watkins Glen. Fantastic drive. Daniel Tenorio finishes second. He'll be really pleased with that one. And across the line in the background to win on his debut in the AM class, James Hebb. What a fantastic night for him. Rhino Motorsports get a debut win. Daniel Davis is going to finish second in the AM class. Very, very well done to him. And then we need to look a little bit further back. Ryan Koprowski that was as well, crossing the line. But in the fiercely forward BMW M4 GT3, Taylor Lane knows that he's going to get this done. Another debutant winner. Absolutely brilliant. Taylor needs that. He's one of the unluckiest sim racers I know, but Taylor Lane takes the win in the Pro-Am category here at Watkins Glen, and Andrew Rasmussen is just going to beat Dean Timms across the line. Those two had a fantastic fight there. Really entertaining to watch. And John Casey is going to round out the podium in the AM class. We'll wait for him just to make his way around the final corners. And then we just have a couple more drivers to cross the line. John Casey finishes third. Very well done to him in the number 78 Porsche. But Dave Moneno once again put in an absolutely solid effort there. And can you blame Taylor for this? I can't. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Taylor Lane, absolute star of donuts by the look of it. He doesn't need those rear tyres anymore, does he? But he deserves that, you know. I'm not saying that in a biased way. I'm a good friend of Taylor's, but oh well, Taylor's a good friend of mine as well. It's not a one-way street, but he's had a lot of rotten luck in sim racing over the time that I've known him, and it's great to see him get that result. Let's have a look at some results then, shall we? But actually get a chance to look at the right ones first. You'd think I was a rookie. Dave Moneno takes the win, 2.070 seconds ahead of Daniel Tenorio, though, which really, to be honest, shows how well Daniel did to hold on. Third place went to Ryan Koprowski in the Riddle Rocket Racing Lamborghini, and Tyler Campbell was the last finisher in the Pro Class. Jonathan Ouellette, though, that is so devastating, because what a fantastic job he did. Really, really hope that he can come back just as strong in future races. Harry Wills finishes 6th, or is at least classified 6th, 20 laps down after that massive incident. And John Cooper is classified in 7th in his Audi. In the Pro-Ams, though, we had, of course, a fantastic fight at the end. Taylor Lane takes the win, but Andrew Rasmussen and Dean Timms, very entertaining throughout, finished 2nd and 3rd, ending up on the podium. Gary Brown is 4th ahead of Jay Steffi, with Michael Kulaga in 6th. Jack Werrell finishes 7th on his debut for Zealous Simsports, ahead of Eric Kulaga and Casey Metzger. Logan Vida is classified 1 lap down with his teammate Joseph Smith. Brent Bravata is 3 laps down with Wilson Brewer, Jeff Carollo, Louis Rivera and Jeremy Littleton not finishing the race. And last but very much not least is our AM class. James Hebb wins on his debut. Very well done to James in Rhino Motorsports. Daniel Davis finishes in second, 9 seconds back. John Casey is then a minute back, and he is the final finisher in a very attritional AM class today. Donald Malcolm, 4 laps down. Drew Neubauer, 4 laps down. Michael Fowler was 5 laps down. 6 laps down, we had Stephen Martinez, Tom Corner and Justin Delano. Matthew Plaisance was 8 laps down, and then Travis Kepler and Jason Bridges both over 35 laps down by the end. Certainly, attrition is the word to speak of, and it gives me great pleasure actually to say that we will have a good chat with 2 good friends of mine. First of which is the man, well, actually, both debutants this evening. The first of which was the man that eventually finished in 7th place in class, Jack Werrell, joining me in the box. Jack, that was certainly a busy night of racing for you, but seems like you have some good fights out there. How was it?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. I'm expecting an email from England, obviously, because I was giving Slabhead a run for his money. The defensive performance this evening, well, I don't know how I managed it. There was lots of defending involved, but no, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it for the first 10 minutes, just chipping away at the cars in front. Grazed the wall on the exit of the final corner and bent my steering very slightly, and had that until lap 20 when I did exactly the same thing and straightened it out. So it was from there just lapping until the end.
And I mean, this is a hell of a circuit to drive GT3 cars around. It's certainly a fun, flowing track. Did it feel like it was a really planted car tonight, that Porsche, or did it feel a little bit more twitchy than it looked?
It wasn't too bad, if I'm honest. Bearing in mind, I literally only got in at 11 o'clock. That was the time I got registered for the series, and the first laps I drove of this circuit were the practice session. And I was playing around with setup here and there, and finally found something that worked for me, where it was just quick enough through the corners so I wouldn't compromise myself on the straights, but it was planted enough through the corners as well. And yeah, it was busy at points. As soon as you unsettle the car mid-corner, even if it's just a half lift, because it's rear-engined, and with it being a flat 6, it's very low towards the bottom of the car. The rear axle tends to get very lively, let's go with, mid-corner. But yeah, we managed to make it work, and first time in the series, like I say, and first time representing the new team. I couldn't have asked for anything more. But a very nice, clean, safe night, and 1 incident point throughout the full 1 hour 15. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah,
that's a mega achievement, to be fair, especially around here where track limits are so inviting. But either way, a mega performance, Jack. Obviously, look forward to seeing you get more points in future. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you?
Of course, Zealous Sim Sports for letting me on board, and yeah, a big thank you to all they do in the background. Everybody at World Series leagues that manages to put this together to such a precise manner, and all of the background work, the admin, it really does bring together quite a good league. And of course yourself and everybody else at Absolute Sim Racing that managed to stream it and put up with me at 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK.
Nice one, mate. Much appreciated. Well, very well done, Jack, and hopefully we'll see you on track next time round, mate.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Good mate of mine, Jack Werrell there. Fantastic to speak to him after a very solid debut. Now, a man that certainly isn't on his debut, but will certainly take a class win and an overall win, is Dave Moneno. Dave, after last week, you really needed that, mate. That was a solid drive. I bet that feels like a big weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. That definitely had its ups and downs. I don't think I've sweat that much in a race in a while, but it was pretty wild.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, towards the end of the broadcast and towards the end of the race, I was mentioning that you were at the back of the pro class very early on, you know, just sort of waiting in the wings to see what happened. Have I sort of misconstrued that, or was it not by choice?
It wasn't necessarily by choice. I kind of, I just found like a setup online, and it was max wing, and I couldn't do anything in traffic. I was just getting swamped on the straight, so I kind of, you know, I had nothing at the beginning. You know, once I had some clear space and I was able to like have some pretty strong pace, but yeah, I had nothing in traffic.
Well, that's one of the things at Watkins Glen, because it is such a high-speed circuit as well, and you know, with these mid to rear-engine cars, they can be a real nightmare if you just have to over-adjust partway round a corner. So you have to be very, very precise with traffic, and when you don't get it right, it goes very, very wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, I tried to make a few moves and just timed them wrong, and yeah, it really swamped me at the beginning. And then, you know, I think Harry had a moment, and I think John had a moment as well, and that really put me pretty far back. And at that point, it was looking bleak, but I knew I had pretty good pace from practice, and if I could just, you know, keep in clean air, I could, you know, hopefully make up some time over the race.
Well, he certainly did that and some, mate. It was a very, very exciting performance to watch, and a very well-deserved win as well, especially after the trials and tribulations of Silverstone. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout-out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys at Race Anywhere for the broadcast. Love to, thank Harry and team for the league, and I'd like to thank my SRT Esport team, and thanks to Dan Tenorio for a good, clean fight for P1. That was a blast out there.
Awesome stuff. Well, great to see you get that win, Dave. Hopefully more in the future, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Cheers. Very, very well done to Dave Moneno there, taking a win in his class. And another man that took a win in his class tonight on his debut in the series is James Hebb. James, you must be absolutely loving life right now, mate.
It's not too bad. Pretty excited. I haven't raced in about a year and a half, 2 years, so pretty nice.
Wow, that's a hell of a way to come back and get straight into a series as well. I mean, I was complimenting the look of the Lamborghini early on, but it certainly goes as well as it looks with you behind the wheel.
It was nice. It handled great. It was. I love Watkins Glen. It's one of my favorite tracks. But yeah, the car felt really good. I'm not a big Gt3 fan. This is the first time really racing in Gt3. I went from GTE down, so I enjoyed it. It was fun. Had a good night.
Well, that's one of the interesting things about the Lamborghini. I mean, everybody tells me that it's always unstable. It wants to kill you all the time because the engine's in the wrong place and so on. But at the end of the day, when you watch them if you watch the broadcast back, you'll see what I mean. But everywhere they go, they just always look like a very compact, heavy, sturdy car. It looks like a very reliable machine. Is that not quite the case then?
That's what it felt like to me. I mean, I think it rotates very nicely, and even a couple times I almost lost it, and I was able to regain control in it really fast, and I think it drives great.
Well, hopefully it continues to go that well over the rest of the season for you. Excited for the rest of it? Are you going to still be with us for all of it?
Oh, yeah. I'll be back next week and thereon.
Absolutely love it. Well, I look forward to seeing it, James. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to while I've got you?
Archer Brother Racing. Dylan Archer and those guys over there helped me out a lot, and I appreciate it. So give a shout out to those guys.
Cracking stuff. Well, very well done, James. Go and enjoy your evening, mate, and we will see you next week. Cheers.
Hey, thanks, man.
Brilliant stuff. Very, very well-deserved class win there for James Hebb on his debut as well. And what a fantastic night for it, because he wasn't the only driver that won his race on his debut tonight. Taylor Lane, good mate of mine, joins me in the chat. It's been a while, Taylor, but I tell you what, last time we spoke in a sim racing situation, it was always just about how much bad luck you have. But what a night you've had tonight, mate.
Oh, that was something. Wasn't expecting that at all. That was a great fun. I had a lot of fun racing that. Everyone was nice and clean. It was last to first, I guess.
Well, that was it. I mean, starting at the back of the pack, did you imagine that there was going to be many overtaking moves done? Because, I mean, you know as well as I do around here, if you lose the slipstream, it can be game over, can't it?
Yeah, as soon as you lose the slipstream going up towards up the Essex towards the bus stop, you're kind of in no man's land, and you kind of fall foul to the guys behind that are in a train. But even I found today that I was struggling to catch even in the slipstream. There just wasn't enough straight. But yeah, with like 10, 15 laps to go, I was expecting to just be happy with the top 5. But yeah, attrition happened.
Well, yeah, there was certainly a lot of it in the AM class as well. I think only 3 finishes in the end in the AM class out of the biggest class of the lot as well. But still, it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch, mate. And of course, I sincerely hope that you'll be with us for the rest of the season. Can we expect to see the big Wasp on track again?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Well, it was fantastic to see, like I say, mate. Great to see you finally break that streak of bad luck. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
I'd like to give a good shout out to yourself. Running this on your own tonight, you've done brilliantly as always. I don't know how you do it for that long, but another shout out to Harry and Dean for running the league, and I'd like to give a shout out to Gomez Sim Industries, sponsors of Visley Ford, and that's about it.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you for the kind words, mate. Much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing how you get on next time round.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Taylor Lane there. Very, very lovely guy, isn't he? Very lovely guy indeed. I'm all flustered now. I'm all blushing. But that was another absolutely fantastic night, everybody, in the Race Anywhere World Series. Plenty of drama, plenty of battles. Dave Moneno takes the win outright. Wonderful slow-mo shot of the Ferrari going around there. James Hebb takes the win in the AM class on his debut. And Taylor Lane, another debutant, takes the win in the BMW M4 GT3. in the Pro-Am class. Thank you very much for joining me, Chaz Draycott. It's been an absolute pleasure once again, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you have a fantastic evening, and I will see you again very, very soon. For now, enjoy the rest of the tune, and we'll see you next week.